Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. My name is Matt. I know this podcast is quite new, but some of you have been following along for a while now. As you may have noticed, the narrator has changed a couple of times already in just a few months. The truth is, the podcast has been growing extremely slow, and basically nobody has left us any reviews so far. I'm here as the new voice of the podcast and would love to stick around, but I need your support to do so. Please, if you enjoy our content, it would mean so much to us if you could just leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you use. Now, take a deep breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. As you settle in and let the cares of your day drift away, allow your breathing to become slow and steady. Tonight, you will venture into a mystical realm brimming with ancient serpent lore from the heart of Oaxaca. Feel the weight of any lingering worries gently dissolving like mist under a warm morning sun. In this serene space, you have permission to ease every muscle in your body, releasing tension that no longer serves you. Notice the softness of your pillow and the comforting warmth of your blankets around you. If there is any tightness in your shoulders or neck, let it melt, giving way to a calm and soothing sense of peace. The gentle rise and fall of your chest reminds you that in this moment, there is nowhere else you need to be. With each breath, imagine a tranquil light filtering in through the top of your head and traveling down your spine, collecting every leftover ounce of stress, then quietly carrying it away. Soon, we will slip into a tale told by ancient whispers of wind over the Oaxacan hills, a story of mythical serpents and kind-hearted villagers, where magic is woven into the fabric of everyday life. Let the story draw you in softly, as if beckoning from a quiet horizon at twilight. There is no rush. There is no hurry. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are safe and you are cared for. Now, gently, allow your eyes to close if they haven't already, and open your heart to the gentle rhythm of this dreamy bedtime tale. In just a moment, the narrative will begin, and you may rest in the comforting embrace of each word. Long ago, in the lush mountains of Oaxaca, a small village named Tres Nubes lay cradled by rolling green hills. Every morning, an ethereal mist wreathed the thatched roof cottages and twined around the ancient cypress trees, as if lovingly protecting the village from the outside world. The people of Tres Nubes awakened each day to the sound of roosters echoing in the distance and the soft hum of breezes passing through the cornfields. Their daily rhythms were gentle and unhurried, guided by the sun's path overhead. In this village lived a caring woman named Marisol. She was neither old nor young, but her calm presence and the kindness in her eyes made her a beloved figure among her neighbors. She wore simple cotton skirts, woven in muted colors, each strand telling the story of her land. She tended a tiny garden beside her cottage, where she coaxed sweet herbs and bright marigolds to grow. Children would often wander by, drawn to the fragrance of basil and oregano that drifted through her gate. Marisol always greeted them with a warm smile and a piece of panela candy. Though Tres Nubes was peaceful, whispered legends spoke of a greater magic in the mountains. Elders told of a great serpent that slithered through hidden caverns under the earth. an ancient presence said to guard the balance between nature and humankind. Far from being a force of fear, this serpent embodied harmony. In the oldest stories, it was said to have gleaming emerald scales that shimmered in the moonlight, like living jade. Occasionally, travelers swore they had glimpsed its graceful coils moving through the forests at dawn, or caught the soft glow of its eyes in the twilight. But these tales were recounted in low voices over fires at night, and few had the courage to seek the serpent's lair. The land around Tres Nubes was lush and gentle, terraced fields producing abundant maize and beans, wildflowers blooming in a riot of colors along meandering footpaths. Birds of paradise and hummingbirds floated amid vibrant blossoms, their wings catching rays of golden sunlight. Not far beyond the village, the terrain rose sharply, forming high peaks, whose crowns were often lost in swirling clouds. Dense forests of pine and oak covered the slopes, and hidden waterfalls poured silver ribbons of water into mossy pools below. Some believed these pools were used by the mystical serpent to drink and replenish its ancient power, though no one had ever dared to wait there and find out. One hazy afternoon, as the sun balanced on the horizon, Marisol sat on her cottage step, weaving a small basket from dried palm fronds. The skies had become tinted with soft peach and lavender. A gentle breeze carried a hint of sage and distant wood smoke, and for a moment she paused her weaving to close her eyes. She felt a subtle shift in the air, a rippling energy that whispered of something deeper. Her grandmother's tales of the serpent came to mind, stories of its benevolent vigilance, stories that had once lulled Marisol to sleep as a young child. That night, she dreamt of the forest paths that led beyond the safety of the village. In her vision, an old cypress tree parted its roots, creating an archway of gnarled limbs, and revealed a hidden stone entrance beneath. She felt drawn to follow a path carved into the mountainside, illuminated by soft dancing lights that shimmered like tiny stars. A warm glow enveloped her, and though she saw no serpent in the dream, she felt its presence, vast yet gentle, ancient yet comforting. The dream ended in a pale hush of dawn, and Marisol awoke with the certainty that something awaited her in the forest. In the days that followed, life in Tres Nubes carried on with its usual calm. Farmers rose at daybreak to tend their fields, and artisans sat at open windows, weaving or embroidering as the sun arced across the sky. Children scattered seeds for the pigeons and giggled as the birds fluttered around them. Yet beneath this tranquil routine, Marisol's dream lingered in her mind, as if the serpent itself was calling to her. She began to notice subtle signs, a shimmering reflection in a puddle that vanished when she looked closer, a gentle hiss in the rustle of leaves. Once, during her evening prayers, she heard a soft hum echo through the valley. Finally, curiosity and reverence led her to set out on a journey. She tucked a few tortillas and a little water into her woven bag, tied a shawl around her shoulders, and followed the forest trail that curled around Tres Nubes like a living belt. The path wound between tall pines and oaks, the wind sighing through the canopy overhead. Every so often, she paused to listen to bird calls, to feel the texture of moss along the trunks, and to sense that quiet magic pulsing in the air. A few hours into her walk, the dense trees parted, and she came upon a stream that sang over smooth stones. The water's song was so melodious it could have been an ancient lullaby. Marisol knelt to wash her hands, and in the water's reflection she saw something glint, a fleeting flash of green behind her. Spinning around, she found nothing but a swirl of leaves drifting on the breeze. Although she was alone, she felt watched over, protected. The gentle hush of the stream seemed to reassure her that she was on the right path. Continuing upstream, she eventually reached a small waterfall spilling into a rock pool embraced by ferns and wild orchids. The dreamlike quality of this place made every sound mellow, from the distant call of a quetzal to the trickle of water over stone. There, hidden behind a curtain of vines, stood a massive cypress, much older than those found near the village. Its bark was knotted with age, and its trunk split into twisting roots that met in a large, arched opening. Marisol's heart skipped a beat when she recognized the shape from her dream. She approached the living archway, feeling a surge of reverence. A faint glow seemed to emanate from within. Stepping forward, she found that the roots did not block her way. Rather, they curved around a narrow stone passage, slanting gently downward. The air within was cool and still, holding the scent of damp earth and ancient secrets. With one hand tracing the mossy wall, she followed the subtle glimmer deeper into the mountainside. Time seemed to blur in that hidden place. The path descended softly, wide enough for a single traveler, and the distant echoes of dripping water guided her onward. Now and then, she glimpsed a swirl of movement in the corner of her eye, like the coil of a great tail or the faint shimmer of scales. The deeper she went, the more the glow grew. The corridor eventually opened into a vast cavern lit by strange, luminous crystals embedded in the walls. Their radiance revealed a subterranean lagoon at the chamber's center, water so clear it reflected the rocky ceiling with dreamlike precision. There, along the lagoon's edge, rested the great serpent. It lay coiled in serene stillness, its emerald scales casting shifting patterns of light across the cavern walls. Its eyes were softly closed, as if it slumbered, yet Marisol felt certain the serpent was aware of her presence. She could hear her own heartbeat drumming in her chest, but rather than fear, she felt awe. Approaching with careful steps, she paused a respectful distance away and bowed her head, acknowledging the ancient guardian. When the serpent opened its eyes, they glowed with a golden luminescence. Not fierce, but gentle. No words were spoken, yet an understanding flowed from the creature's gaze to Marisol's heart. An echo of centuries of wisdom, the memory of generations guided by the serpent's silent watch. Images blossomed in her mind. The mountains rising from the sea of time, the first villagers arriving to farm the fertile soil, a cycle of planting and harvest, joy and sorrow, births and passings. And through it all, the serpent's watchful presence seemed woven into the very essence of the land. Marisol knelt and felt a subtle vibration in the cavern, like a warm heartbeat pulsing beneath the stone floor. The serpent gently lifted its great head, and, with a slow, languid grace, approached the edge of the lagoon. It lowered its snout to the water, sipping in a delicate motion that belied its immense size. Then it shifted, revealing a winding path on the cavern's far side, which glimmered just as the hallway had. Marisol sensed an invitation, an urging to explore further and discover what lay beyond. Rising from her kneeling position, she followed the serpent's silent suggestion. The path led behind the lagoon, where large crystals jutted from the walls like natural sculptures, each radiating a soft glow of pale blues and greens. The shimmering light guided her steps as she climbed a gentle incline. The serpent glided silently behind her, coils moving in sync with the faint lapping of water. They emerged into another chamber that curved upward, forming a dome of polished stone. A circular opening at the apex allowed a single beam of sunlight to fall into the chamber, illuminating a smooth rock dais at the center. Here, the air felt lighter. Marisol placed her palm on the dais's surface, noticing faint etchings of spirals and serpentine shapes, as though carved by hands long ago. When her skin touched the stone, she felt a comforting warmth spread through her. In her mind's eye, she saw vibrant scenes, villagers performing rituals to honor the serpent, offerings of flowers and song. The people seemed joyous, connected, and deeply at peace with the rhythms of nature. The serpent lifted its head towards the opening in the ceiling, letting a shaft of golden light play across its jewel-like scales. A silent communication flowed once more, an invitation for Marisol to pass on this knowledge, to remind the village that a living bond unites them with the land and its ancient guardians. She closed her eyes, feeling gratitude welling inside her. Though the images were wordless, they spoke of renewal, a gentle reminder that the serpent was not a figure of fear, but a guide of harmony. After a timeless moment, the beam of light in the dome began to shift, signaling the late afternoon outside. Marisol understood that her visit was reaching its natural conclusion. She bowed again, a silent promise to carry this renewed sense of wonder back to Tres Nubes. The serpent inclined its head in response, as though bestowing a blessing. Quietly, the woman traced her steps back down the winding passage, guided by the comforting glow of the crystals, until she reached the lagoon once more. There, she paused to dip her hands into the clear water, washing away any doubts or hesitations. With renewed faith, she made her way to the corridor, leading back to the Arch of Roots. When she emerged from the trunk of the ancient cypress, the forest greeted her with soft, dappled light. The sun hung low, casting long shadows across the fern-lined floor. Birds began their evening calls, and a gentle hush fell through the trees, as if nature itself acknowledged that something profound had just occurred. Marisol walked home with a calm that seemed to radiate from her core. As she neared the edge of Tres Nubes, she noticed the sweet smell of wood smoke drifting up from the chimneys. The village lay bathed in twilight's purple hues, the warm glow of lanterns flickering against adobe walls. Children, tired from a day's play, followed their parents indoors. A gentle hush was settling over the lanes, making each footstep softer, each breath easier. Upon arriving at her cottage, Marisol lit a small clay lamp, its flame dancing in the gentle breeze from the open window. She placed a few marigold petals by the threshold, a subtle offering of thanks for the blessing she had received. Though she told no one that evening of her encounter with the serpent, a serene glow in her eyes hinted at the secret knowledge she carried. In the weeks that followed, Tres Nubes began to feel the ripple of change in subtle ways. Marisol tended her garden with an unspoken reverence, softly singing a lullaby that the serpent's memory had gifted her. The plants flourished with renewed vibrancy, leaves gleaming as if kissed by starlight. Neighbors noticed how the air seemed fresher, the streams a bit clearer, the birds more melodious in the early morning. Elders who had once told the serpent legends began to recall details forgotten by time, speaking them once more over evening fires, sharing them with wide-eyed youngsters. Slowly, a sense of gratitude and harmony spread through the community. People found themselves pausing during their daily tasks to savor the beauty around them. They took care not only of their crops and homes, but also of the forests and rivers. When festival time arrived, the villagers chose to honor the ancient serpent with a simple ceremony. They gathered at dusk in the clearing near the waterfall, wearing garlands of fresh flowers and playing gentle music on flutes and guitars. Though the serpent did not appear in the open that evening, the feeling of its presence was unmistakable. A soft breeze rustled the treetops, and the music seemed to echo deeper into the forest than ever before. A reflection of moonlight on the water's surface created a sinuous shape that swayed with the rhythm of the songs. Children and elders alike danced in slow circles, arms outstretched to the sky, as though embracing the entire cosmos. In time, Marisol did share her story, but always gently, allowing each listener to interpret the tale in their own way. Some said the serpent existed between waking and dreaming, bridging the realm of tangible life and the hidden magic of nature. Others believed it was as real as the soil beneath their feet, an ally guiding them toward deeper harmony. However they understood it, a renewed sense of respect and kinship with the land blossomed throughout Tres Nubes. As seasons turned, the serpent became a quiet part of everyday life. It was in the swirl of morning mist over the fields, in the hush of the wind through the pines, in the silver glimmer of moonlight over the mountain pools. Though seldom seen, its influence was felt everywhere, binding the village to the land in a delicate thread of communion. And so it remained, generation after generation, a gentle guardian shared in lullabies and soft-spoken stories, passed from mothers to children, from storytellers to eager listeners on cool, starry nights. Night settled gently over Tres Nubes once again. The windows of the cottages glowed with candlelit warmth, and the fragrance of chamomile tea drifted into the quiet lanes. Marisol's day was drawing to a close. She tidied her garden, placing a final offering of fragrant petals near her door, then slipped into her dimly lit cottage, where the hush of twilight cradled every corner. In the stillness, the distant flow of the mountain waterfall could be heard, a soft lullaby in the background of her thoughts. The memory of the serpent's emerald gaze comforted her, reminding her of the harmony and guidance that dwelled in the hidden heart of the mountains. She blew out the lamp's flame, allowing the comforting shadows of night to embrace her. Slowly, Her eyes grew heavy. She rested on her simple wooden bed, feeling the gentle pull of sleep envelop her. Outside, the whispering breeze carried the faint echo of the serpent's ancient song, a melody of protection and calm. One by one, thoughts of the day dissolved into the softness of moonlit dreams, and breath by breath she eased into a tranquil slumber. All throughout Tres Nubes, a similar hush settled. Families curled under hand-woven blankets, lulled by the knowledge that they were watched over by old magic and the rhythms of the land. Stars appeared overhead in a silent symphony, their glowing patterns reflecting in the village's peaceful pools. And so, under a canopy of shimmering constellations, the story came to its gentle close. May all who hear it find rest, lulled by the ancient guardian's presence that whispers peace and comfort through each night's hush. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well.